How's it going? Please state your name, gender, race, and age.
My name is Sydney O'Neill. I am female. I am white, as white as white gets. And as of today, I'm 20.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay, so please identify your racial history and your understanding of it.
My racial history. Well, I come from a family that's lived in Spokane our entire life. If you throw around the last names, it's literally everywhere. And that family comes from Ireland, Germany, and England, mostly. My race. I'm white. That's it. There's nothing to it. I don't have like a stigma around the way that causes me to act. I don't think that I act with typical race stereotypes, as you would say, though I'm only white by social construct and the way that other people choose to identify me because of the way I look on the outside, even though on the inside we're all red and we all bleed and we're all the same. Yeah.
What have you thought about your race in the past, and how and why have these views changed throughout your life?
That's hard because living where I live, growing up, I've always grown up in a place that's mostly white. I come from the conservative Pacific Northwest, from the conservative city of the conservative Pacific Northwest, in the most conservative part, the northern part of the conservative city of the conservative Pacific Northwest. When I think about going to school, like high school, I didn't grow up around a lot of African American people, for example. I can't think of more than 5 or 6 even at my high school. Maybe 10, the ones that I didn't know. And of the 5 or 6 that I knew, they were football stars. They were basketball players. They were the people that either ran in my circles with band or were popular by the social construct of the school. I think that my race growing up has always been real and been evident, but never affected me in the way that it would affect me if I was living somewhere as a minority. Because I'm not. Because I've always lived in a place where being white is normal.
So do you think if you move somewhere else where the minorities are a little bit more prominent than, say, in northern Spokane, do you think your race would become even more of a social construct and define you even more than it does now?
Absolutely. Having been to Papua New Guinea, being there where all of the people are black, all of the people have dark skin, and if they don't, then they're sought out and sought after, it's totally different. Walking down the street in Spokane, the people who are noticed are people who stick out, people whose clothing maybe doesn't fit in the social construct that we've put around what you should look like wearing clothing in the rich, quote unquote, rich side of North Spokane. Walking around in Papua New Guinea, you're looked at as this person who, even though you may be 10, 20, 30 years younger than someone, they think that you know everything and that you own the world and that you walk on water when you don't. When you struggle as far as figuring out who you are as a person, and you're there to figure out who you are. Being in a country like that changes worldview entirely. And I think over the course of this class, particularly this quarter, it was made evident to me just how unequal the United States is on all fronts. Not just on the Black Lives Matter or the LGBTQ community or LGBTQT. Sorry, I'm not part of it. I identify as straight. I don't know what that means to be signaled out like that. I have no idea. So when people say they struggle in that way, and reading the text this course looking at current society in the way that being black changes how you're approached, being gay changes how you're approached, being bi or lesbian or queer or trans, like that changes the way that someone looks at you as soon as they know, same as the way your religion does. Same as when I stand up in front of a crowd and say, well, yeah, I'm Christian, that automatically changes how someone views me. I'm then thought of as this hypocritical, Bible thumping Christian who all I want to do is shove the word down your throat when that's not what I want to do. If anything, I want to understand what you believe and understand why you believe it and understand why you're focused that way. It's hard for me as a female, as an American living in this country, to watch people around me become so divided and so angry at each other for no reason when the thing they're angry about is something that socially we're taught to be angry about. That socially we're taught to have pride about. Where did you come from? What were you growing up? I was a band kid. And I will happily say that. I'll stand in front of a crowd of 100, 1,000 and say, yeah, I grew up as a band kid. I grew up playing instruments and marching on a field because that's what I love, because those are the people that I love. That's a great thing. So you played sports. Fantastic. But then you're thought of as a jock. And as soon as you step outside the social status quo of being a jock and being rude to the band kids or the theater kids or the science nerds, you automatically are looked down upon by your peers and by people older than you or younger than you who don't understand that identifying by those things doesn't change who you are as a person. It adds to your personality and it creates you in who you want to be and who you choose to be and how you choose to act, but it doesn't change you. So, I don't know, my racial identity, my race, how does that affect me? How do my other identities affect me? I'd like to say I don't let them. I'd like to say that when I walk around being a white female and I think about scholarships for college, wishing that I could have more of them, I'd like to say that there's not a part of me that doesn't resent being white because I wish that I could have more scholarships so I didn't have to pay for college. There is. There totally is. And that's my fault. And that is my pride and my jealousy getting in the way of loving other people equally. And that's wrong. And I know that. So I don't act on that. And that's okay. We have this idea in America that the only true Americans are the Americans that belong here. Well, then everyone can get out because the only people that belong on this continent are Native Americans because they were here first. That's how it is. That's the way that works. If we're going to go by who was here first and who gets to be here, all of the people in South Africa who weren't born there years and years and years ago, whose ancestors weren't born there before Europeans settled, can leave. Someone have a problem with that? Because I personally have a problem with saying, you're black, so you don't belong here. Yeah, they were brought over against their will as slaves. Or maybe they had the choice. Their ancestors came over later than that. That's awesome. They had the choice. Because this is the land of opportunity, the land of equality. And how do we say to those people who came for a chance, get out? Mexican immigrants coming up to work the summer so that they can go back and pay for their family to eat and not even eat enough, not even have a roof over their head and not even have carpet on the floor. How can we say to them leave if we're supposed to be equal and supposed to give equality and supposed to be the land of opportunity? Where does that put us as a nation? Where does that put us collectively as a people if we decide that suddenly because I'm white and history says that my skin color is better than yours, I have the perfect say in everything? It's not equality. Singling someone out because of their race is not equality. Singling someone out because of their gender is not equality. Singling someone out because of their sexual orientation or how they choose to identify. I identify as a human. There are people in this world who don't. There are people in this world who identify as goats and attack helicopters and aliens and all kinds of things. There are people in this world who, when they look at themselves in the mirror, they think, This is not the body I was supposed to be in. So like Caitlyn Jenner, they have a gender switch. If we're the land of equality and land of equal opportunity, who are you to say that they can't do that? Who are you to then say that that's not okay? I live in the most conservative part of the United States, arguably, other than maybe Texas. And even saying, yeah, I live in Washington State, suddenly I'm a drug user. How can I be looked at as a drug user when you don't know who I am? When I introduce myself, I don't say to anyone the state I'm from, the religion that I hold, or my sexual orientation. Because that causes them to judge me on an unfair front that they can't already judge me on. I can't control the color of my skin. At least I don't have the financial ability to. Yeah, I can control the place I live. I like where I live, so I'm in control of it. I can't control my gender, or at least I don't want to. I don't have the financial ability to. I was born female, and so I will be female. So, how is it fair when someone asks me, how does your racial history, how does your identity's history change and impact your life? Identity is constantly changing. Race is constantly evolving because now in the United States, yeah, white may still be the majority, but white as a color. Because if we're going to go by race and by ethnicity, I'm Irish. I'm almost 100% Irish, actually. I'm a little tiny bit Native American, so I guess I could argue that I belong here more than anyone else, when it's not true. Yeah, you could be black, but suddenly if you have any little bit of white in your heritage, you're not all black, and you're not completely accepted. Yeah, you could be white, but what if you're Asian? What if you're Asian American? Are you still completely white? Do you still belong here as much as I do, as much as the next guy? Who am I to say? How is it ever fair for me to look at someone and say, you don't belong here, you should get out, when we're judging them on the social construct that doesn't give us any more reason to stay here? So my race, what did I learn? I learned that America is spoiled and stubborn, and people in America look around them and think, I want what the other guy has, so I'm going to complain enough until someone in a higher position than me does something about it. I feel like I don't belong in my skin, so when someone says to me, you're a man, how do you wear makeup? You're a woman, why do you wear sweatpants? And they judge me because of the way that I look and not who I am, I post on Facebook about it instead of standing up and making a difference. America is stubborn, and America is selfish. America is a sleeping giant that could change the social stereotypes of the entire world. America is giant. There are so many people. If instead of looking at the next person and saying, I wish my hair was that color, I wish my eyes were that color, I wish I was that size, that shape, I wish, I want, me, we started paying attention to the person next to us and thinking about what we could maybe do to impact them in a way that would make their day better, and other people around us did the same for us, being good people regardless of your race, of your gender, of your sexual orientation, of your religion, of your socioeconomic standing, regardless of your opinion. If we can talk honestly, openly, and civilly, heaven forbid we get through a political argument without someone telling the other person that they're stupid. Without someone telling the other person that their opinion is less worthy than the one that they just expressed. we can start doing that, where would we be?